Have you ever thought about how an entire cosmic story, a massive spiritual war, could be packed into just a single sentence? Well, that's exactly what we're going to do today. We're going to dive deep and unpack just one verse from the book of Revelation to uncover a conflict that stretches all the way back to the dawn of time and, as we're about to see, is still playing out right now.
You know, it's funny. To really understand the end of the story, you often have to go right back to the beginning. And I mean the very beginning. This prophecy from Genesis. Think of it as the opening shot in a massive spiritual chess match, a conflict between two opposing seeds. And this one idea, it echoes all the way through history and finally just explodes in the verse we're looking at today.
All right, so let's set the scene. Where are we? We're dropped right into the middle of Revelation chapter 12, and it is wildly dramatic. You've got this great dragon, we're talking Satan here, who has just been booted out of heaven, and he is not happy about it. His first move? He tries to attack this woman, who represents God's people. But nope, she's divinely protected. So, what's a furious, defeated dragon to do? He's got to switch up his strategy.
And that brings us right to our key verse. The dragon's direct assault was a total failure. So he pivots. He channels all that rage onto a brand new target, the remnant of the woman's offspring. It's like he's saying, if I can't get you, I'll get your kids. This is a huge moment. It's basically a declaration of a whole new kind of war.
Now, to really get the full weight of this declaration, we've got to do something cool. We're going to peel back the layers of the English translation and look at the actual words John wrote in the original Greek. You see, the language he used is so precise, it's packed with these powerful clues about what's really going on. This is where the good stuff is.
All right, here it is in the original Koine Greek. I know, it might look a little intimidating, but stick with me. We're not going to try to translate the whole thing. We're just going to zoom in on a few key words. And when we do, you'll see this incredible, much richer picture of this war just come into focus.
So, first up is this word, orgisthe. This isn't just, he was a little annoyed. No way. The Greek here paints a picture of a deep, boiling, seething rage. This is the absolute fury of an enemy who has just been utterly defeated, kicked out of his place in heaven, and now he's just lashing out in pure desperation.
Okay, next up, check out this phrase, poi asai polemon, literally to make war. And that's super important. Why? Because it tells us this isn't just some random temper tantrum. This is a calculated, strategic, organized campaign. The dragon isn't just mad, he's methodical. He has a plan. So, who's the target of this planned out war? The text is specific. It's against the ton lopon, the remnant, or the rest. And this is a huge deal. It's not a war against just anybody. It's laser-focused on a specific group that's left, the ones who have held on. And this whole idea of a faithful remnant, man, that's a powerful theme you see all over the Bible.
And this last Greek word we'll look at, spermatos, just brings everything full circle. It's incredible. The dragon goes to make war with the remnant of her seed. Sound familiar? It should. This is the exact same spiritual family line we heard about all the way back in Genesis, now coming to a head right here in this final conflict.
Okay, so let's recap. The Greek gives us this crystal clear picture, right? We've got an enraged dragon who has declared a very strategic war against the specific group called the remnant. But that leaves us with the big question. Who are they, really? What is it about this group that puts them squarely in the dragon's crosshairs? And this is where we see this amazing contrast. You see, the dragon's war, it's not fought with brute force. His main weapons are way more subtle. Deception, accusation, and just this long, drawn-out strategy of grinding people down. And who's he aiming at? Well, the spiritually awake, the obedient, the ones who are actually out there advancing God's kingdom. Basically, he's going after the ones who are the biggest threat to him.
And you know what? This isn't a new playbook. Centuries, literally centuries before John wrote Revelation, the prophet Daniel talked about this. He described a similar enemy whose whole goal was to wear out the saints. It's a war of attrition, right? Designed to just exhaust the faithful with constant, nagging, subtle pressure. So how do we spot this remnant? How can they be identified? Well, the cool thing is the verse doesn't leave us guessing. It gives us two super clear defining characteristics. You could almost say these are the two things that paint a giant target on their backs for the dragon.
And here they are, super straightforward. Number one, they keep the commandments of God. And number two, they have the testimony of Jesus Christ. These two things go hand in hand. You really can't have one without the other. They are the spiritual DNA of this remnant. So let's dig into what each of those really means.
All right, first, keeping the commandments.
Let's be really clear here. This is not about rigid legalism or just checking off a list of rules, not at all. It's describing a much deeper kind of obedience, one that flows from the heart, led by the Spirit. It's about having the living Word, Jesus himself, living inside you and working through you.
And that second mark, having the testimony of Jesus, again, this is way more than just quietly believing something in your head. It's a living, breathing, active witness to everything Jesus has accomplished. We're talking his victory on the cross, his resurrection, his kingdom. That is the declaration, the story that the dragon is absolutely desperate to silence.
Okay, so let's pull all these pieces together now. It's so easy to read this verse and just see the scary parts, right? The conflict, the fear, the war. But what if we've been looking at it backwards? What if the dragon's rage isn't a sign of his strength at all? What if it's actually the ultimate proof of his defeat?
And why is this testimony just so incredibly powerful? What makes it such a threat? Well, Revelation itself tells us just a few chapters later. It says the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy. Think about that. It's a creative, world-shaping force. It speaks a reality of victory into existence, a reality the dragon is trying with all his might to deny. And this is the absolute core of it all. Think about the wording again. The verse says the dragon has to go to make war. Why does he have to go somewhere? Because the battle for heaven is over. He lost. He is forced to wage war down here on earth for one reason and one reason only, because the remnant still stands, secure in a victory that Jesus has already won. The very existence of this war is the proof that he's been defeated. Which leaves us with one final question to chew on. If the dragon's rage is just the fury of a defeated enemy, and his war is being waged against a people who are already sealed in victory, how does that change the way we look at the spiritual battles, big and small, that we face today?